Hello, it is my great pleasure to have today with us Caroline Haythornthwaite. Caroline is a professor and director of the iSchool at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. Caroline is one of the most, I would say, influential researchers in the space of social learning, social network analysis, and probably the pioneer of the use of social network analysis in the domain of field learning. It is a great pleasure to talk to you, Caroline.
Yes.
And could you tell us a bit what you are doing in learning analytics and with learning analytics?
Good. Yeah. Well, I started out in looking at what made it possible for people to learn together at a distance and through computer media. So in the following collaborative learning ideas, how do people interact with each other? So my first entree into that was to see what people were doing with each other in order to see what made it possible for them to stay in that environment. So I asked them about who they collaborated with, who they got emotional support from, and within the class we got the network of who was talking to whom and about what. And that, combined with other interviews with the same people, led us to feel that the emotional support was a very important part of it, and the being there with others who understood the environment was very important. And still, the collaborative learning aspect, because none of them knew how to behave in that environment, it was important for them to be able to learn how to work together in that environment.
So that sounds exciting. It sounds that you had a chance to connect to many different types of data sources and to explore learning from many different angles. Could you tell us a bit more about the types of methods and techniques and tools that you are using in your research in learning analytics?
Yep. Well, there's the basic method is social network analysis, who talks to whom, about what, and I like to look at also via which media. What we're doing with that is then seeing what kind of groups emerge, what kind of structures emerge from the group to see where information flows, who is learning what from whom, and then so how that structures the entire class. More recent work is now trying to, of course, with the great amount of social media data out there, is to actually do automated data collection. And then with the MOOCs, we're trying to look at the conversations that happen associated with MOOCs, but then we have the open MOOCs, which have data in multiple sources. So one of our big challenges now is trying to get the data, to look at data across multiple media.
That sounds very exciting, and it seems that you are getting many useful types of insights. To what extent you are also going into the different types of content analysis that can potentially enrich the types of insights that you are presently getting with the method that you just mentioned, that you are using social network analysis?
Yeah, well, one of the things I've always been interested in is, can you see learning occurring in a transcript? And so in that way, we want to look at what kind of aspects are happening in the conversation. There's an idea of interactivity that is one person talks to the next, and then that person talks to them again, and then there's a third turn. So you can look at the kind of ways you have multiple interactions between people. So some of the stuff I looked at is how many times people talk to the same people. Are we getting just one small set of people maintaining the network? But I think as far as the content goes, we want to see what kinds of content, both the topic of the course as well as the purpose of the group. Are people trying to keep the group going by the social support aspects, by sharing common experiences, by socializing, having a little fun? Or is it an instrumental exchange that says this is just straight business and we're just going to pass along instrumental knowledge? And with the internet and all the internet sources, we have a great opportunity to look for how people are bringing in outside sources as well. So some of the stuff that's interesting is to see how much something like a MOOC builds from within the group and how much it builds from knowledge outside the group.
That's exciting. And one final question would be, obviously you are collecting a lot of useful insight into that. In terms of the translational potential and also translating all that into practice, while obviously instructors can get some insights, the question is to what extent they need to be familiar with some of these types of analytics, how we can improve their skills. And the second thing is also what type of practical, actionable analytic insights they can get so that they can change immediately their practice.
Yeah. Well, I think the concept of networks is actually fairly straightforward. I think there's difficulties interpreting a picture. But let's say you started teaching a class and you could see a picture of who was talking to whom. You know who the people are. You know what's going on. You know that you have a certain number of people in there and there's only 2/3 of them speaking when you, or leaving some evidence of a conversation. So the concept of having some kinds of dashboards, and I know there's with the Solar Group has written about the dashboards and some kind of feedback on the interactivity. A colleague and I from a number of years ago, we always said that when we were teaching online, we couldn't see what you can always see in a regular classroom. You can't see the head's nodding. You can't see whether the eyes are looking at you. You can't see who's clustered with whom and where the side conversations are going. So a lot of that is revealing that again with the network analysis to say, yes, this is a cluster over there that's having a conversation, and making that more visible yet again for instructors. So there's a very practical aspect of making the invisible class visible.
Okay, thanks very much for taking your time to share your experience and insights with us. And we look forward to learning more about your research in the future. Thanks.
Thank you.